Hi. So let's take a look at your presentation. We'll start by going through it, letting it roll, and think about what you're seeing and how you guys are doing stuff. And then I'll go through it again with you, and we'll break it down a little more and see what we can learn. So let me share my screen with you here, and let's take a look.
Pay attention.
Go.
How's everybody doing today? My name is Sean Gates.
I'm Jared Smerdell. And I'm Thomas LaJoy.
We're from Monsanto Incorporated. We're here to talk to you guys about the importance of writing in business. Now, you might be asking yourself, why should I care about writing? I'm not an author. I'm not going to be writing books. Writing's stupid. Well, I assume everybody in here plans on having a job at some point. Whether you plan on having a job already or you plan on finding a job, being able to write and apply for that job is a crucial skill. If you do have a job, being able to advance your career and advocate for yourself in that setting is crucial. 75% of employers say that writing skills are crucial in a business environment today, and over half those employers believe that young folks today don't have those skills. Now, not just in the workplace setting, but also in the academic setting, writing can be important. Now, not everybody goes to college, but if you do plan on going to college, being an effective writer is a crucial skill to have. Whether you're applying for college and writing that essay or applying for grants and scholarships, being able to write effectively is a crucial tool that you need to get into college. Now, college can be expensive for a lot of folks. I know a lot of people think, I'm not going to college, that's way too expensive. But through these grants and scholarships and effective writing skills, you can go to college at a reduced cost or many times even free. So, let's look at these examples, and let's check out a real world example, not in an academic or in a workplace setting. Say you're in a position of self-advocacy, or you have to persuade someone in a situation. Now, it's no secret that discrimination is and has been a problem in this country. 1962, when Martin Luther King Jr. was jailed for the Birmingham sit-ins, he wrote a letter from a Birmingham jail. It was a strongly worded letter advocating for nonviolent protest. It was instrumental in the civil rights movements in the 1960s. Now that we've shown you guys a few examples of why you should even care about writing, let's look at some examples of how we can improve our writing skills.
Awesome. So some common mistakes we often see in the writing world are spelling errors. And some of these mistakes, they're really easy to make, but they're also really easy to avoid. One of the really easy ways to avoid is by using spell check. So on our cell phones, which you have in your hand over there, or on the computer, we all have spell check, so it's a really easy tool to utilize whenever possible so you don't make those spelling errors. We also can use online dictionaries if we're ever unsure of a word, and just to make sure we know the meaning of that word and make sure it's spelled correctly. Also, having someone read your writing over is also really good to help you avoid some of those mistakes, because oftentimes you'll spell a word correctly, but you'll be using the word incorrectly, and you'll reread it correctly in your head, but having someone else reread it will help point out that mistake and make you avoid it in the future. Another common business mistake we see in writing is apostrophe abuse. So if we just use our grammar check as well on our phone or on our computer, we can avoid those mistakes. So here's a quick example of kind of a funny version of spelling error. So this photo up here, it says the teacher likes to do math with us, but obviously that's a messed up spelling error. The student meant math. So it can be funny, but it can also get you in trouble. Unbearably long sentences are another common mistake we see. So just words like and so, just cut those out. Those make them compound sentences. Cut out those comma and make those sentences individual. Another common mistake we see is not getting to the point quickly and effectively. So just know what you have to say it. Don't add any extra detail. That's just going to bog down and extend the length of your writing, and the reader's not going to be interested in it. Finally, the last mistake we'll often see is error pattern blindness. So people will make the same mistake habitually in their writing, and they'll often miss it. So tools like Grammarly can help us avoid some of these mistakes in the future.
Thank you, Thomas. And I would like to talk about now improving your writing skills. This isn't the grammar itself, but how you write. So to start off, I want to talk about making a conversation out of your writing. We all live in a day and age of social media, and we can use that to our advantage here. So you want to make a conversation with your writing that engages your audience, really gets your point across. Secondly, I would like to talk about keeping your writing fresh. Fresh to me means not stale words. You could be using words like henceforth and therefore, and that's a bit too much. You want to really make sure it's nice and to the point. Finally, I would like to talk about bringing the passion. Now, this is very important for everything in your life, not just writing. When you put your passion into your writing, your audience will notice that and really engage with it more. And passion isn't just for writing, it's also for your life. Find something you're passionate about and really pursue that. And it applies to everything. So if you can do that, then you're well on your way to being a great writer and having a great future.
I'd like to open for any questions now, please.
5 minutes, 5 seconds.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning on this and talk a little bit about what you guys were doing.
Go.
How's everybody doing today? My name's Sean Gates.
I'm Jared Smerdell.
And I'm Thomas LaJoy.
So great
We're
intro.
Incorporated. We're here to talk to you
You make it's easy to know who you guys are. Well done.
about the importance of writing in business. Now, you might be asking yourself, why should I care about writing? I'm not an author. I'm not going to be writing books. Writing's stupid. Well, I assume everybody in here plans on having a job at some point. Whether you plan on having a job already or you plan on finding a job, being able to write and apply for that job is a crucial skill. If you do have a job, being able to advance your career and advocate for yourself in that setting is crucial. 75% of employers say that writing skills are crucial in a business environment today. And over half those employers believe that young folks today don't.
Okay, Sean, I'm betting here that I'm throwing you off because I'm goofing around on my phone and stuff. And of course, that is really difficult to cope with, and it's a pain in the butt when you're presenting. So how do you deal with it? Well, first, you sort of got to let it wash and just let it be. And that you'll get better at simply with practice, because you'll always notice in an audience, there's some people that just aren't paying attention. No matter how good your presentation is, no matter how well you're talking, there's some people that are going to disconnect, and there's nothing you can really do about it. There is a little trick, though, that you could use. One thing that we saw was that Louise was in there, and she was really paying attention to what you guys were saying. And that's the roles we took on. I was going to be the high school kid that wasn't paying attention. She's the one that was. So focus on her. That's, if you continue to look at her, you'll get connection. You'll get somebody following up and following with what you're saying, and that will make your life a lot easier, and you'll feel a lot more comfortable at the front of the room as you're going. So it's just a quick one. There's always people who aren't paying attention. Focus on the ones that are, and that'll help you get over this.
Those skills. Now, not just in the workplace setting, but also in the academic setting, writing can be important. Now, not everybody goes to college, but if you do plan on going to college, being an effective writer is a crucial skill to have. Whether you're applying for college and writing that essay or applying for grants and scholarships, being able to write effectively is a crucial tool that you need to get into college. Now, college can be expensive for a lot of folks. I know a lot of people think, I'm not going to college, that's way too expensive. But through these grants and scholarships and effective writing skills, you can go to college at a reduced cost or many times even free.
So what's really good here is that you're talking with us. You don't have a memorized speech. You're not canned in your presentation. You're talking with us. You're expressing ideas and thoughts. You know what you want to let us know. You've got these things that are important, and you're allowing yourself to be accessed, or to put it in more sensible terms, you're really accessible. You're natural, you're easygoing, you're relaxed, and you're letting us tie into what you're saying. And that's really, really great. That's incredibly well done, Sean. Good work.
But look at these examples. Now let's check out a real world example, not an act.
Okay, you've done this a couple of times. This is going to be more of a criticism than stuff. Killer stopping point, huh? Anyway, you turn your back to the screen, or turn your back to the audience and look at the screen as you're going through your slides. So you've either got to know them better and sort of have a clear sense in your head of where you're going, or step off to the side. But notice there's no room here, right? With both Jared and Thomas there, you're not in a position to move. So really, these guys probably shouldn't be there. If you want to have all three people talk, which I think is fine, and the way you broke up your presentation, it's a really good idea. These guys, you guys should really be off to the side. And that gives Sean the space that he needs to move through and the space that he needs to look at the slide quickly, because if he's over here, all he has to do is turn his head a little bit to see what's up there without turning his whole body. Whereas if he's here right in the middle, well, the only way he's going to see what's on the slide is to turn around. So placement, physical placement of your presentation team and of yourself really matters, because you don't want to turn your back to your audience at all if you can avoid it. Can't always be avoided, but definitely don't want to turn your back to the audience when you're changing slides.
Okay. Or in a workplace setting. Say you're in a position of self-advocacy, or you have to persuade someone in a situation. Now, it's no secret that discrimination is and has been a problem in this country.
See, there you're going again, and you really want to avoid that.
1962, when Martin Luther King Jr. was jailed for the Birmingham sit-ins, he wrote a letter from a Birmingham jail.
See, and I'm a touch confused here, because I mean, this is a big point that you guys are making. You're talking about Martin Luther King's letters. You knew that was coming. You knew what the visual was like. Let the audience have it, right? I'm not sure what you were looking for when you went there. Maybe it's sort of a little bit like an trying to get clear sense in your head of what you're going to say. Well, that happens too. For whatever reasons, stay facing us, because when you're facing us, you're really engaging us. You're excited, you're fun, you're relaxed, you're casual, and yet professional, because you're making sure we understand all the pieces of the writing and why it matters. And so you're doing that a really, really great job. So stay with that, because that really helps you work with your audience really well.
Only worded letter advocating for nonviolent protest.
I'm going to jump ahead here to, well, not that far ahead. Of course,
we often see in the writing world.
it's too bad that you made Jared chase after you, but you guys, you need to practice this stuff. These kind of things shouldn't be happening. You've got to know, I'm hatching it off. I've got to give the clicker over to Thomas, and you've got to make sure that that happens. Sorry for calling you Jared, Thomas.
Are spelling errors. And some of these mistakes, they're really easy to make, but they're also really easy to avoid. One of the really easy ways to avoid is by using spell check. So on our cell phones,
again, we're seeing that same turning and looking at the screen stuff. Like the idea of going after the kid with the cell phones is, hey, you can find it there.
Having your hand over there or on the computer. We all have spell check, so it's a really easy tool to utilize whenever possible, so you don't make those spell errors. We also can use online dictionaries if we're ever unsure of a word, and just to make sure.
And again, the same thing's happening again, and it's partly space here. There's no place for Thomas to go, because I'm going to assume that you guys remembered what you were going to be talking about: spell check, online dictionary, Grammarly. Those things are relatively easy to remember, and then you're just going to talk about it and explain how they work, right? So onward.
You know the meaning of that word and make sure it's spelled correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
also having someone read your
see, you obviously knew it because you hadn't clicked on the slide yet. That wasn't up on the slide, Thomas, when you started saying that that's what it's going to be. So the turning the back thing is, you've really got to work on that, okay?
Over is also really good to help you avoid some of those mistakes, because oftentimes you'll spell a word correctly, but you'll be using the word incorrectly, and you'll reread it correctly in your head, but having someone else reread it will help point out that mistake and make you avoid it in the future.
So we just watched you do something really, really good, right? You had an idea, you shared the idea. It was like we were sitting down over a cup of coffee or something, and you talked with us, right? You were facing us, you used your hand gestures to walk through the different bits and pieces, and it's really good. It really makes it easy for your audience to connect with you. And it's way better, right? I mean, you're doing that really, really well. You're good at that. Your voice is pleasant, you're easy to listen to, you're projecting well, all the good things that you want to see.
Another common business mistake we see in writing is apostrophe abuse. So if we just use our grammar check as well on our phone or on our computer, we can avoid those mistakes. So here's a quick.
So I was thinking you might have had a bit more power in your presentation if you would have given examples of misusing apostrophes, poor spelling, and all that stuff in advance. You do put it here, right? But here it gets hard to see because the image is really small. And that could have been on a slide all its own. And you could have brought an individual slide for each idea. This is really good. I like the example that you use, right? And it would be better if it was broken up a little bit, because by now it's a little harder for us to see that. So that's an overall presentation thing. That's nothing specifically about what Thomas is doing, but think about that when you're setting up your slides. Watch yourselves more often. Step back and see what's going on. Make sure your team is watching. I'm not 100% sure you guys practiced in front of your team and had your team give feedback. Either that or you're making the error that we're about to find out about, right?
Example of kind of a funny version of spelling error. So this photo.
Okay, so I'm glad to see that you got that you found it funny and pleasant. I suspect you probably recognize the music. Stop at that point. Connect with the kid. And if you can identify it, say, hey, that's really cool. Is that somebody that you really like? Right? Because the kid's being a pain in the ass, and maybe he's just trying to get attention. He's probably trying to get people to pay attention to him. So give it to him. Just for a second, talk about the music, and then get back to the presentation, right? And tie into it, because you guys obviously recognize it. You guys obviously enjoyed it a little bit. So run with that. Just take it the next step further and actually connect with the kid and talk with them. That would work really, really well.
It says the teacher likes to do math with us, but obviously as a messed up spelling error, the student meant math. So it can be funny, but it can also get you in trouble. Unbearably long sentences are another common mistake we see. So just words like and so, just cut those out. Those make them compound sentences. Cut out those comma and make those sentences individual.
So here, just visually on the slide, your spacing with the slide is not great. Maybe center this a little bit more top to bottom. It just, this blank space in here is visually not very appealing. And that's sort of missing with all of the slides. Although you don't have a lot on the slides, which is what we're looking for, the placement of your words, the visual appeal of what you're putting up there is a little soft. So always make sure that your slides look attractive. So like I said before, go into the room, look at them. What does that look like in the end? You don't even have to say anything. Just click through the slides and see what they look like, right? Visually, this isn't the greatest.
And make those sentences individual. Another common mistake we see is not getting to the point quickly and effectively. So just know what you have to say it. Don't add any extra detail. That's just going to bog down and extend the length of your writing, and the reader's not going to be interested. Finally, the last mistake we'll often see is error pattern blindness.
And this is what I was driving at when I said earlier that you've got to go through the presentation and make sure that it's working and that it makes sense. And it gets a little hard when you're the presenters only looking at it, because you can't see what that looks like. And that's where your team needs to be there. It needs to be going through it with you. It needs to be helping you see what's going on, so that you're not blinded by your own sense. Yeah, okay, this is what I mean. This is what this is going to look like. Is it exactly what you mean to say coming through? And that's where your team has to help you out to make sure that the presentation is strong.
People will make the same mistake habitually in their writing, and they'll often miss it. So tools like Grammarly can help us avoid some of these mistakes in the future.
Thank you, Thomas. And I would like to talk about now
Of course, this handoff was perfect. Really well done.
improving your writing skills. This isn't the grammar itself, but how you write. So to start off, I want to talk about making a conversation out of your writing. We all live in a day and age of social media, and we can use that to our advantage here. So you want to make a conversation with your writing that engages your audience, really gets your point across. Secondly, I would like to talk.
Again, we've got all three of you guys looking at that screen too much, and you've really got to stop doing that. It's a problem, and it suggests maybe that you guys haven't practiced this enough. If your team is watching you present, they'll see that and they can tell you, hey, listen, guys, you're facing the screen. You're constantly looking up at the slides instead of keeping your self focused on the audience. That's just simply something you need to stop doing and you need to overcome. And I know you'll manage it with practice, and the more presentations you do, the better you'll get at it. And the key here again is practice, practice, practice.
Keeping your writing fresh. Fresh to me means not stale words. You could be using words.
See, again, I mean, you know, you're talking about fresh. What gives? Why are you looking up to the slides? You're giving us body language now here. Your talking is great. Your inflection is great. Your projection is great. You're doing a great job, but your body language, you keep turning away from us, and you just don't want to be doing that. Add that in, and you've got an exceptional presentation.
Like henceforth and therefore, and that's a bit too much. You want to really make sure it's nice and to the point. Finally, I'd like to talk about bringing the passion. Now, this is very important for everything in your life, not just writing. When you put your passion into your writing, your audience will notice that and really engage with it more. And passion isn't just for writing; it's also for your life. Find something you're passionate about and really pursue.
And so I want to emphasize again, Jared, you're really doing a great job in terms of talking. You're not memorizing. You've got the ideas in your head. You're letting it flow naturally. You're just talking about the stuff that you want us to understand. And that's done really, really well. You're easy to connect with. You're pleasant to listen to. It's easy to understand you. It's easy to get the ideas that you're trying to get across to us. You're doing a really great job there.
Do that, and it applies to everything. So if you can do that, then you're well on your way to being a great writer and having a great future.
I'd like to open the floor to any questions now, please.
5 minutes, 5 seconds.
Okay, so let's take a look at the questions and how you handle them.
Any questions? Question right there.
Yeah. I really like pretty things, so I'd like to know if it's okay to use like a fancy script font in business letters.
So if you're writing a personal letter to your friend, your family, absolutely go for that font. I love it. The more flair you can, that's fun. But in a business setting, you want to keep things a little bit simple. You want to keep things straightforward and to the point. Well, you might have that in your back pocket. It's best to keep that for personal uses.
So that's a great answer, isn't it? You're encouraging Louise to keep doing that because you think it's really cool and that it's fun and that there's some great places to do it. In business, maybe you need to be a little bit more formal. And I love the keep it in your back pocket thing because it stays connected with the person. And you're saying, don't throw it away. Just, you got to temper it at times. And you said it in a really, really nice way.
Any other questions?
And so, like, I'm going to keep it real, eh?
Okay.
And I'm going to be like say a rapper like 2 Chainz or Big Sean, 42 Doug.
I appreciate that, my guy. What's up?
Nice, right? That's nice. Isn't that a great response? So how does any of this shit help me with
So those
You want to make money?
artists,
Uh-huh.
they actually, if you look at their lyrics, they say a lot of really complex lyrics. They're rhyming, they're using their diction correctly. So improving your writing skills is also going to improve your rapping abilities.
And also these rappers, these icons, these people, they have good writing, and they use that to get like label signs and stuff.
Some of the most effective lyricists in this day and age, a lot of them unfortunately do use ghostwriters. So, you know, you might not be the best rapper yourself, but if you're a good writer, you can even get a job in the music industry writing raps.
I'm the rapper man.
Anything else?
So again, you guys gave great answers. All 3 of you chimed in. Each of you shared a thought as to what I can do, how I can follow my dream. You even gave me a little extra piece. Hey, listen, if you don't necessarily make it big time because I'm not pretty enough or whatever, there's always ghostwriting. And knowing how to write well is going to help me attain that dream of mine. And that was really well done.
Oh, I'll ask my other question.
Yeah.
Really deep question. So Is it okay to use emojis when you're emailing somebody in business?
In a business sense, it's probably not as professional to use emojis. You kind of want to avoid that. Same thing kind of with the font. You can use it with your friends and family, have fun with it, but in a professional business setting, you want to just kind of cut that out.
Okay, great. So let me stop sharing the screen. So you guys did a really nice job in here. You did some really good things. You were natural. You were authentic, as we looked at in that chapter. You were accessible. You were easy to listen to. You projected well. You had your ideas really clear in your head. You didn't, you hadn't memorized things. You didn't give us a canned speech. You knew what you wanted to say. You knew what you wanted us to learn, and you talked with us about it. And that was really great. I think it's excellent that you did that. Great job. The slides were mostly good, and you did a great job with some of the pictures. I gave you some suggestions, and maybe when you're looking at errors, give a demonstration. Show what an error looks like, and then show what a correction looks like, and use fun stuff. The meth example, I think, is perfect, right? And the biggest crime, if you will, that you guys committed was the constantly turning to the screen. That's a big problem, and you simply want to stop doing that. In part, we saw that maybe it was because there was all three of you up at the front at the same time when you were talking. You probably would, all three of you, been better served by being off to the side. If you want to talk to the class in the middle, move back. And if you want to be in the middle of the room, you can always move back and forth, because you know you're about to make a change to the slide. Step off to the side to click to see them, make sure that it's up there and stuff. In your case, I'm surprised that you wouldn't feel the need to do that, because your slides were really straightforward. There wasn't a lot on them, but what was on them was really good and really strong. So I would think that that would have been easier. But you guys, you got to stop doing that, and you'll get better at it. But it's important to do. Overall, then, great presentation in terms of how well you talked. You were easy to access, easy to hear. You spoke clearly. You were very genuine, authentic. There was nothing rehearsed about what it was that you were doing. You simply presented us with ideas. You tried to connect with us all the way through with this, and that's really, really good. So overall, like I said, the presentation is really pretty good. Hang on just a minute here. What I'm concerned, hi, I'm back. What I'm concerned with is that it looks like you guys may not have practiced this as much as you need to. And you really, at your point in your career yet, need to practice doing presentations more. As the years go by, you guys will get very, very good at this, and you'll need to practice a given presentation a lot less. But here, it looks like you guys didn't really get feedback from your team as to what you looked like. And that really did undermine the presentation, the quality. So I'm going to end up giving you a B+ on this presentation. There was some great stuff in here. There's a couple of things though that we had talked about before, and you guys did them again. And I really need you to stop making those mistakes. And I know you will. I'm really confident that you guys will figure it out, and keep working at it. This is a great start. Well done.